Now I am honored to review this book. This book to me is like one of the most badassest books of all time. I mean, Yoshio Manaka is a super badass, awesome, super awesome, great, the bomb guy, okay? So the story goes, Yoshio Manaka is this acupuncturist, kind of like scientist dude in Japan, right? And the dude like knows like 7, 8, 9 languages, I don't know. And so he's doing, acupuncture, and he knows how to read Chinese, and he knows how to read Japanese, and he knows how to read English, and he knows how to read, French and German or whatever, right? All these like languages that are medical languages. And so he starts to, he's aware of like scientific methodologies. And so he looks at all this Chinese medicine information, and some of it just sounds like just folky, kind of anecdotal, like, like river chi, like river, point and this point, and it's just very kind of, there's like some hokey stuff in there, and it sounds like kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? It's like unscientific, okay? So he basically develops methods and techniques to test all the different ideas and theories and principles in acupuncture with scientific methods. Now, some of these scientific methods they don't use to test acupuncture in the West. We have all these other technologies that we use that don't really get to the bottom of how it really works, the nature of it. I mean, one of the things he calls in, one of the principles he comes up with is called the X signaling system. And the reason he calls it the X signaling system is because he doesn't understand what it is. That's why he calls it X. But he can outline it. He can figure out how to work with it and understand it and understand its kind of mechanisms. In the West, we're like, well, it just doesn't exist. We can't see it in an X-ray. It doesn't exist, So you got to be smart in that. When you understand scientific philosophy, you can't just because you don't see it, that doesn't mean it's there. Okay? I think that's the big problem. It's like, well, how can acupuncture work? It doesn't work with the nerve channel only. It must be placebo. Well, maybe there's something you don't know. And so he basically outlines through, by the way, he works with this guy named Stephen Birch and Kazuko Itaya. They basically help him write this book. And this is like the bomb. I mean, I would be honored to meet Yoshio Manaka. But the first, let me see. The first like 100+ pages of the book get into the different experiments they started doing. The next half of the book is all about like diagnostics and healing points and kind of like different methods of just bringing balance back into the system. But I mean, it's so cool. Like one of the things they did was like they would get the acupuncture readings or like electrical readings from different major points from like, let's say, the heart channel or the lung channel or the liver channel on healthy men, like a bunch of healthy young 20, 25-year-old guys or whatever, right? Then they started, that was like their base. Then he started reading the patterns of people that were having lung problems or this problem or that problem. They could see different variations, you see? And in the West, I mean, no one's doing this kind of stuff. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's really hard to find basic. I mean, it's like a very basic, the kind of research he's doing, but it's so powerful because the way they've been able to organize it and combine it. And like, for example, he got into using gold and silver needles and really perfected that whole methodology. And there's other books that kind of delve into that by these two authors. But, this is such a phenomenal. Another thing they did was they used to, instead of needling the point, they used to tap the point at certain frequencies. That they found that correspond to that channel or balancing a certain phase. And so for some people that don't know what phase is in Chinese medicine, it's kind of like, I'm not even going to explain it right now because it's just such a deep thing. Just look up Chinese phase theory or something. That's just a whole can of worms. But I mean, truly, this is such an inspiring book because this is not just about acupuncture. This is a book that is going to become a vital piece of our understanding of medicine as we start to combine Western medicine and homeopathy and acupuncture and herbology and whatever, surgical sciences. This is going to become one of those books that becomes like a core foundational like must read. I think I got this for like 30 or 40 bucks. Man, I'm telling you, this is like a $500 book. If this was to cost $500 or even $1,000, it's worth it. So, hey, get a copy and have a blast with it. And it's funny, I've talked to so many acupuncturists. I'm like, have you ever read a book called Chasing the Dragon's Tail? They're like, no. I'm like, you haven't read that book? Yoshio Manaka? They're like, no. I'm like, what? It's ridiculous. Anyway, the bomb.